Hello everybody and welcome to a video update with yours truly, the Wild Man of Borneo. I need a haircut, I need a shave. Such is life, eh? Who have I got to impress? Anyway, changing the subject slightly, video update time, and reason why is I've got two pieces of news. One could be construed to be bad news, and one could be taken to be good news, depending upon your viewpoint. But here we go. I'm going to give you the bad news first and sort of finish with the good news, so that you go away with a sort of bittersweet taste in your mouth, I suppose. So the bad news, Attila Total War, the LP, is finished. Is the short way of putting it. Two reasons. The first reason is I've reached my predetermined victory condition that I set for myself about 2 to 3 months ago. Now, when I started this LP way back in February, I did say on the introductory video that I will be playing this game to create a story, and I would set my own endpoint, and I wouldn't be constrained to the victory conditions imposed by the game. I had no intentions of finishing a whole campaign. I just wanted to create this story and enjoy the game for as long as I could enjoy it. So the victory conditions I set for myself were to conquer or unify Britannia under Saxon rule. Well, we achieved that quite a while ago now, and was to also eliminate our arch rivals, our neighbours, our nemesis, the Franks, which we have all but done now. They have just like one stack left meandering around in our lands, and was to resettle in our homelands, retake our homelands, and reconquer and settle back where we started. And we've done that. So with all those conditions achieved, I'm quite happy to end the campaign. And another reason, the second reason really, why I decided not to push on any further is because I'm simply not enjoying the game as much as I was. You know, I'm sitting down for a session of Attila, and it's beginning to feel like a chore. Not getting as much enjoyment out of the game as I used to, and compared to the other games that I'm LPing at the moment, you know, I look forward to sitting down and playing them. You know, it makes me feel excited. I'm happy to sit down and play a session of Witcher, to play a Metal Gear Solid, to play some Until Dawn. Really, really good. And then I start playing Attila, and I just sort of find things to do to distract me, or I sometimes sit down and intend to play, but I never get around to playing it because I keep putting it off and I'm not enjoying it. So with those two reasons combined, I think it's now time to call a close to the LP. We've reached a good endpoint. The Saxon people, I'm sure, would be more than happy to have three entire provinces under their control, to have eliminated the Franks, and just to enjoy a bit of prosperity for the last few years of hiking Esla. So we're going to call a close. I'll do one last video to sort of conclude things in the not too distant future, and I might also upload the game save should you wish to continue on with the campaign to see what happens if the Huns come, for instance. Don't know if they're going to come this far west anyway, but just in case they did, you can play out the rest of the campaign. We've gone for about 140 parts, which we haven't actually expanded too far in the 140 parts, but I've had fun during those 140 parts. So it's not as if I'm cutting the campaign well short. We have gone for a good while, and the Huns have arrived. Attila is here somewhere on the map, and you know we've gone a fair whack. So, but yeah, the time is now here to call a close to that campaign. So thought I'd give you that. Bad news for those of you that are enjoying it. I know a few of you do enjoy it, and well, you know, when I'm not enjoying something, it's time to call a close. So that's the bad news. The good news, it depends upon your viewpoint, but the good news is I have purchased for myself a laptop. Okay, what's the good news in that, you say? Well, I'm not a big laptop person, but I need a laptop now for some work purposes. And I got a decent laptop. My friend works in a sales company that deals with technology and stuff, so he can get me a very nice laptop at cost price. It's an i7 processor, it's got 8 GB of RAM and decent graphics card in there, so it's not too shabby a laptop. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I was thinking, I'm having some problems with Sony Vegas on my computer. It just does not render using the Sony Vegas codecs. I can't render using Sony Vegas, you know, MP4 or WMV codecs. So I can't render into 60 frames per second. I can't render into 30 frames per second using the standard codec. So I've had to be, I'm currently still using Sony Vegas despite this problem. But I'm having to use a custom extension codec, which allows me to render the videos into 30 frames per second, and it doesn't crash. The drawback with that, if you want to be bored by the technicalities of things, is that I can't batch render. I can't render more than one video at a time, so I can't render overnight because I have to be here to keep manually rendering the videos. And I have to do that through the daytime. So whilst I'm rendering through the daytime, I can't play anything else on my computer, because when you're rendering the video it takes up the whole processing power of your computer, so I can't play a game at the same time. All this leads to me being able to only upload one game a day, which I suppose is better than nothing. It's still a decent pace, you know, one game a day is still fairly good. But when I want to LP sort of 3 games at a time, even one game a day, it leads to a bit of a stagnation type effect with the LPs. You know, you're getting a session and then having to wait 3 or 4 days for the next session, and then another 3 or 4, and it causes the LPs to drag on a bit. So with this new laptop, I don't know how laptops work with Sony Vegas. Are they good for rendering? Are they not so good? I'm not a laptop person, I don't know. But if Sony Vegas installs okay and it renders it in a decent time frame on the laptop, then my proposal is to be able to use Sony Vegas on the laptop. Hopefully it won't have the same crashing problems that I'm having on my computer with it, which means I can render in 60 frames per second, which is the first piece of good news. Might be going to a bit of a quality increase, because I just recently started watching 60 frames per second videos on Chrome. Only last week I started watching them, and you can tell the difference big style. So to be able to render into 60 frames would be a nice added extra, I suppose. So that's the first piece of good news as a result of this laptop. And the second piece of good news is because I can render overnight again, if it doesn't crash, and because I can render on it at the same time that I'm playing a game on my other computer, this sort of simultaneous effect will allow me to be able to upload 2 games a day. So a session of Metal Gear and a session of Until Dawn one day, a session of Until Dawn and a session of Witcher the other day. And this effect will lead to 2 positives. First of all, if you don't like one game but you like the other, great, you've got something to watch. And secondly, it keeps the pacing of the LPs up much better, so that we can get through these LPs in no more than 6 months. And that means that I can move on to do more games, because I get so many people asking, are you going to play this, are you going to LP that? And I'd love to LP some of the games that you're suggesting, but I can't, because I'm bloody tied up with other things that's dragging on and dragging on. So this will allow me to be able to keep the pacing up, better quality videos. Surely it's going to be a win-win situation. So I'm getting this laptop tonight, picking it up from my friend's house. So by Monday, I'm hoping to implement this new regime, really, of 2 60 frame per second games uploaded around about an hour to an hour and a half sessions long per day. About 5 days a week. I can't do it every single day, but I try and do it most days of the week, so it roughly equates to about 5 days. So there you go, that's the good news. So good news and bad news, till is over, but well, we're getting a bit of a quality increase in terms of videos. Fingers crossed that Sony Vegas works on this bloody laptop alright, and if it does, then we're also going to get an increase in pacing in terms of getting two games a day uploaded on my channel, which will hopefully lead to some more variety, because I like to start new LPs. It keeps things fresh, it prevents things from stagnating too much, and I get to play my favourite games far more frequently, rather than playing it once every 2 or 3 days. I can play them every day now, which is good for me as well. So yes, enjoy your weekends. People have been asking about what's going to be the next live stream. I have it in my mind. It's just a case of actually sitting down and getting it sorted and actually doing it. So hopefully next Saturday or next Friday, one of those 2 days, I'll start start streaming rather, another series. Stay tuned, I'll let you know what it is. I just need to do a couple of test things to see if it works, and then we'll get cracking with that as well. So plenty to go at, and until next time, see you soon.